Everybody, welcome to this presentation of Eurostars. My name is Federica Vitale and I work for Eureka. Eureka is an intergovernmental platform present in 45 countries which provides financial supports for projects in the fields of research, development and innovations. Projects that are developed by small and medium-sized enterprises, but also by other types of organizations. Eurostars is one of the funding instruments offered by Eureka, and today with this presentation I'm going to tell you about it, so you will learn what it means to apply for Eurostars. All the information that I'm going to share in this presentation refer to the second edition of Eurostars. I'm going to condense them in around 15 minutes, so in order to find more detailed information about the program, visit the Eurostars website. Eurostars is a joint program between Eureka and the European Union. It is a program specifically dedicated to R&D performing SME, and it is a market-oriented program. Indeed, all the innovations that are created within Eurostars projects must be close to market. Eurostars follows a bottom-up approach. Indeed, participants are free to develop any innovation in any technological areas with no restrictions. The only condition is that projects must have a civilian purpose as opposed to a military one. Eurostars is a program that promotes international cooperation, and indeed for many SMEs it works as the first step to internationalization. Eurostars has 36 participating and partner countries. As you can see from this map, we also have countries outside Europe, for example, Canada, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, and also Israel. Eurostars 2 has a budget of around 1.15 billion euros. 75% of this budget comes from the Eurostars countries, while 25% comes from the European Commission through Horizon 2020. Since 2014, we have had around 4,000 applications. An interesting data to know is that Eurostars has a success rate of 29%, which means that if you apply for Eurostars, you have 29% of chances of winning Eurostars funding. So this is pretty good news because compared to other similar funding programs, it's a high success rate. As Eurostars is a program specifically dedicated to SMEs, most of our participants are SMEs, whether R&D performing ones or not. But we also fund other types of organizations, including, for example, universities, research institutes, and also large companies. Participants in Eurostars can develop any innovative products, process, or service. As I said, they must be market-oriented. Eurostars is a market-oriented program, and indeed, market introduction is foreseen within 2 years after the end of each project. For biotechnological, biomedical, and medical projects, clinical trials are foreseen within 2 years after the end of the project. A typical Eurostars project is made up of an average of 3 to 4 participants from 2 to 3 different countries. It has an average duration of 30 months and a total budget of 1.4 million euros. As I said, you are free to innovate in any technological areas. Here we just show the top five technological areas on which Eurostars applications focus. Mostly they focus on electronics, IT and telecoms technologies, and biological sciences and technologies. Here you can see the top 5 market areas that are reached by Eurostars innovations. Mainly it's the medical health-related market and industry and manufacturing. I'm now going to explain how the Eurostars process works. There are 3 phases in the Eurostars program. I will first explain the application phase, then the evaluation, and finally the monitoring phase. Anybody who has an innovative project idea and potentially successful project idea should apply for Eurostars. It's very important before applying to visit the Eurostars website, because there you can find all the important information that you need to know before applying, for example, Eurostars eligibility criteria. And it's also very important to contact your national funding body. This because Eurostars funding is provided at national level by the national funding bodies, which sets specific funding rules at national level. So you need to contact them in order to know which funding rules there are in your country. Then the applications are filled in only through the Eurostars website, so you need to create an account. You complete your online application form, you submit all the relevant annexes, and then you can submit the project proposal, of course, before within the deadline, the submission deadline. All the applications received then go through an evaluation process, which is made up of different steps. The first step is the completeness check. This is when the Eureka Secretariat and the national funding bodies check that the project proposals are complete, and in particular that all the documents required at this stage have been provided by the applicants. So all the complete proposals move to the next stage of the evaluation phase, which is the eligibility check. In this stage, we check that the project proposals fulfill all the Eurostars eligibility criteria. Now, the Eurostars eligibility criteria are 13. Due to time constraints, I'm not going to list all of them in this presentation, but only some of them. However, you can check the Eurostars website and you will find the full list there. One Eurostars eligibility criterion, for example, is that the project leader must always be an R&D performing SME from a Eurostars country. Another criterion is that in the project consortium there must be at least two participants from at least two Eurostars countries. Other organizations from non-Eurostars countries can participate as well in a Eurostars project, however, on a self-funding base. And then another criterion is that the total budget of the SMEs participating in a Eurostars project must be at least 50% of the total project budget. And finally, another one is that the project cannot last longer than 3 years, and market introduction must be foreseen within 2 years after the end of the project, market introduction or clinical trials. All the eligible proposals move to the next stage of the evaluation phase, which is the remote expert evaluation. Here, each proposal is assessed by 3 independent experts. If at least 2 out of 3 experts give a positive score to the proposal, then the proposal moves to the next stage of the evaluation phase, which is the independent evaluation panel. In parallel with the remote expert evaluation, the financial viability check takes place. So the national funding bodies check that the partners in the project have the financial capacities to undertake their part in the project. The result of the financial viability check then go to the independent evaluation panel and can influence the assessment of the independent evaluation panel. So the independent evaluation panel, or IP, is a panel of independent experts who assess each proposal, and their goal is to select the best proposals and rank them. So they create a ranking list. All the proposals in the ranking list then go through an ethics review. This is when a panel of experts assesses the potential ethical issues arising from each proposal. Ethical issues that are sensitive concern, for example, the use of human cells for research purposes, or the involvement of human beings or animals in the project, or the use of personal data, and so on. Applicants must be able to show that they can identify and properly address any potential ethical issues arising from their project. Here we have a representation of the 2 stages that we have seen before. So the remote evaluation when the 3 experts assess each proposal, and if 2 out of 3 experts give a positive score, then the proposal moves to the IP, while simultaneously at national level the financial viability check takes place. Both the 3 experts before and then the independent evaluation panel evaluate each proposal against 3 main criteria. One criterion is the quality and efficiency of implementation. So what experts look at are, for example, the quality of the consortium and whether the cooperation among the partners brings an added value. Then the second criterion is excellent. Experts look at things such as the degree of innovation involved in the proposal, whether there's any new applied knowledge generated. And finally, the third criterion is impact. So what is the impact of the project in the market? So experts look at things such as the market size or the competitive advantage of the innovation that would be created. Here you can see what happens in the independent evaluation panel. As I said, this is a panel of experts who assess the proposals and against the three criteria that I have explained before. Now, to each criterion, the IP assigns a score. So if each criterion is scored at least 120 points out of 200, and if the total score that is assigned to the proposal is at least 402 points out of 600, then the proposal is recommended for funding because it's above the quality threshold. The proposals that are not above the quality threshold are not recommended for funding. Now, all the proposals are then ranked in a list, and the synchronization process starts. This is when the national funding bodies allocate public funds to their partners in the projects. So they start from the first proposal in the list, then they move to the second one, to the third one, onwards and downwards, and until national budget exhaustion. So normally the first 50 proposals in the ranking list get funded. Uncertainty about funding starts from the 51st proposal. So it's important that you prepare an excellent project proposal so that it is ranked among the first 50 in the list. In this example, we have a project that is made up of four partners. So we have, for example, the Belgian R&D SME. The Belgian R&D SME is allocated funds by the Belgian national funding body. Then we have, for example, the university from the Czech Republic, which receives funds from the Czech national funding body. So each partner receives funds from its own national funding body. That's why it's very important to contact the national funding body before applying, because each one of them has its own funding rules. Overall, the entire process from the submission deadline until the communication of the funding results takes 19 weeks, during which applicants are regularly updated on the status of their proposal. For the successful proposal, so for all those projects that can start, the monitoring phase begins. This is when the national funding bodies and the Eureka Secretariat monitor the progress achieved within the projects. So at national level, there are specific reporting requirements, while at international level, the Eureka Secretariat sets common requirements for all the participants independently on their nationality. In particular, the Eureka Secretariat requires one progress report from each participant every 6 months from the beginning of the project, then a final report at the end of the project, and finally, over the 3 years after the end of the project, once a year, the participant must submit a market impact report which shows progress in the market. That was the last slide of my presentation. As I said, all detailed information can be found in the Eurostars website, including information on the next call. So visit the website. While for the latest updates, follow us on Facebook or on Twitter. Thank you very much for your attention.